meeting to order. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we have Dr. Ken Johnson here from Roadhaven Boys Ranch Chapel to do the invocation. Okay. Come up, please. You can stand over there at our podium.
Let's bow our heads and our hearts. Dear Heavenly Father, we enlist and desire your blessings on these proceedings this evening. We ask that you give clarity to the minds of those who will be participating. We ask that you smile upon each guest, reporter, and petitioner. Lord, we see before us this afternoon our elected officials in their capacity as Putnam County School Board members. They seek and need your wisdom. We ask that you give them the presence of mind that you have given other great leaders as they made decisions for others. We covet your attention and blessings on all the support staff that it takes to have such an auspicious and august body that embodies the trust of the people they represent. Now bless each student and each teacher in our system and help us not betray the future of one single child as we carry out the business of our schools here in our great community. We ask you to especially remember one of our own, namely the Rayburn family, in this time of grief. Yes. We ask you in the greatest name of all names, the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We have some people here, Scott and Bob and Joe and Tim. And Scott, you're asked to come up and just give a little spiel about the building. Scott Getchell is our Director of Facilities, and he has overseen this whole huge, unbelievably complicated project for this building. So he's very, very, very good to work with.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure
This was a surprise, right?
Obviously, there's a lot
We'd
of
like you to
people
introduce the
credit.
guys and bring them up.
Yeah, if I could, Bob, Joe, Tim Lee, please come up. There's so many people that have been involved in this project. Obviously, the superintendent, the board, thank you so much for the opportunity. This has been a great opportunity for the district, really looking way into the future. We talk a lot about the needs of the Campbell building, I'm not getting all that, but there's so many people that have been so actively involved. Obviously Ms. Sharon, Ms. Pam, again, Phyllis, all the department heads had such a tremendous part of this entire project. And they really were integral in working with us in the design of the building. And then, I got to give credit to the IT department. The maintenance department has been just, really working hand in hand with us here at the end to get everything we need for the move. There's just so many people that have been so actively involved, and again, I really want to give you guys a credit for the opportunity. Bob Gilman, CRG Architects, Joe Kiemeyer, Tim Lee, who's been Easy and White, who's the superintendent, who really was here day after day, all day, working this up and trying to get the project complete. So I don't know if you guys want to say anything, but we really appreciate everybody.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Scott, thank you all for your work. This is a beautiful room and very professional and very appropriate for our school board members and certainly for the public as they come to hear meetings. They will actually have room to sit and they'll be able to hear, because when AT&T finishes what they're supposed to do, you'll be able to hear us better. But we can't thank you enough for the job that you've done. We're close to finishing. Today, because we're honoring our first responders, we wanted to make sure we had plenty of room. We weren't sure how many of them would be able to be here, but if many came, we knew this room would hold them. Our former boardroom would not. So we thank you for working with us to make that happen today. And thank you all so much for your work. It's been amazing.
I have a couple announcements to make. First of all, if you have a cell phone, please turn the sound off. It interferes with our, whatever we have so far, it interferes with. And also, I just plan to take a 10-minute break at 5 o'clock. Should the meeting go to any meeting that I'm chairing, go to 5 o'clock. We're gonna take a 10-minute recess and then reconvene at 5:10. We're honoring the Putnam County first responders today. And I'd like to read a proclamation from the governor of Florida. Whereas Tarpon Springs Police Officer Charles Condek and Leon County Sheriff's Deputy Christopher Smith were recently killed in the line of duty. And whereas each loss of a law enforcement officer is heartbreaking, and losing 2 heroes in less than a month is a cry for peace and a signal to all Floridians to pray for our men and women in uniform who protect our communities each day. And whereas Florida's first responders include law enforcement officers, firefighters, and EMTs who bravely and selflessly risk their lives every day to protect Florida families, visitors, and businesses. And whereas Florida's first responders do not hesitate to risk their own lives in order to save the lives of others, and their commitment to continued training, skill enhancement, and interagency coordination make them vital members of every Florida community. And whereas acts of kindness and appreciation from citizens for first responders provide them needed encouragement and support to confront the dangerous and uncertain situations they face every day. Now, therefore, I, Rick Scott, Governor of the State of Florida, do hereby proclaim January 5th through 9th, 2015 as Florida First Responder Appreciation Week, and encourage all Floridians to take time out of their day to show first responders and their families how much we value their service to our cities, counties, and state. Florida First Responder Appreciation Week will be an opportunity for Florida leaders at every level to demonstrate appreciation for all men and women who protect and serve our state as first responders, and an opportunity for Floridians to say thank you to the first responders who keep them safe. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the great seal of the state of Florida to be affixed at Tallahassee, the capital, this 29th day of December in the year 2014. And Madam Superintendent will take it from here.
So what happened on the 29th, the governor did a very good thing, and the Commissioner of Education, Pam Stewart, then on New Year's Eve sent this request to the superintendents in the state of Florida. Dear superintendents, as many of you already know, Governor Scott has proclaimed the week of January 5th through 9th Florida First Responder Appreciation Week. Each day, thousands of Floridians risk their lives to protect our families and provide us with assistance anytime we need it. As a mother and grandmother, I take comfort knowing there are many brave men and women in our state's communities who have chosen to serve as law enforcement officers, firefighters, and paramedics. I admire their bravery and selflessness, and my heart goes out to the law enforcement community, which has recently suffered the loss of 2 officers killed in the line of duty. I am proud Governor Scott has designated January 5th through the 9th to honor and thank Florida's first responders, and I encourage each of you to work with your schools, teachers, and principals in your district to remind our students about the sacrifices first responders make daily to keep us safe. This is a great opportunity to teach our students a lesson that cannot be found in any textbook, the value of gratitude for those who serve. So at her request on New Year's Eve, I texted all of my principals and I said, this is a very important week. And although you are not at school and won't return until Monday, I would like us to honor our first responders. And my principals and their staff, the teachers and all the staff at the schools came through with flying colors. I was so excited at all of the activities that we provided. Much of it covered in the newspaper. If you've been reading the paper, you've seen several articles and pictures of all of the different paramedics, officers, and firefighters. And so the board did not meet last week, and I felt it very important that they take time also to recognize our first responders. We work together. We have worked together over the years. This is my 30th year in Putnam County Schools. We've been through train wrecks, and we've been through meningitis scares, and we've been through bus accidents, and we've been through closing down schools because there was somebody running through the neighborhood with guns. You name it, and who do we turn to? If we didn't have our first responders, I don't know what we'd do. At several of our schools, one of the things that was given out at one of the schools was a bag full of candy. And it was really unique, and I'd like to read to you. It was a survival kit, they called it, for first responders. A lifesaver to remind you of the many times you've been one. Starburst for the burst of energy you'll need. A payday, because we know you're not doing it for the money. A paper clip to hold everything together. Hershey's Kisses, because you deserve them from all of us. Gum to help your units stick together. A Tootsie Roll to help you roll with the punches. A peppermint patty to help you keep your cool, Snickers to remind you to keep your sense of humor, and Mounds for the mounds of courage that you need. And finally, before we give out our certificates, to sum it up, Interlochen High School had a thank you note at the placemat of each of the responders that came to have lunch with them, and Thomas Bowling did cook steaks. I was very impressed. And it says, "No words seem adequate to express our admiration and gratitude for the brave men and women who run towards danger to selflessly save others. Our thoughts and prayers are with you always." So what we'd like is those first responders who are representing their agencies to come up front, because our school board members are going to present you with a certificate to take with you. And it's our way of saying thank you so much for all you do for us every day. So if you guys would come on up, all of you. Okay.
Need our
So,
help?
yeah, I want you all to go down and everybody take one of these and go present it. Everybody present at least one, please, and maybe, yeah.
I thought Rick Ryan was a sheriff. Oh, that's you.
Yes, yes.
She wants to speak on first. I'm a pastor Tennessee, so I get to rough them up in a couple of days.
Hey, how are you?
Okay, and for those of you in the audience, what this says is the District School Board of Putnam County First Responders Appreciation Week, January 5th through the 9th, 2015, to the men and women who risk their lives daily to ensure the safety of our students and citizens, and in recognition of the noble, perilous, and heroic deeds performed by Putnam County's first responders, we say thank you. And there's a seal, Putnam County School Board's seal, but also a seal that says First Responders, America's Heroes, and it has the symbols of each of the agencies in the seal. So it's our way of saying thank you so much for all that you do, and those that are in your agency that could not be here today, if you will let me know how many of them would like to also have one of these. I knew everybody couldn't be here today, but I would like everyone that wants one to have one, so if you'll just call my office, we'll make sure that everyone gets one. And Jim, you want to take a few pictures?
Excuse me.
Thank you all so much. We really
Okay, the next item on our agenda, I'm going to call up Helen Muir for the presentation of the Involved Parent of the Month Award. Is James Ellis here? James, come on up. You are to be admired. Jane Tillis.
December's Involved Parent Volunteer, Tuesday, January 13th, 2015. This is to you about you. Dedicated hearts. Dedicated hearts like yours are not so easy to find. It takes a special person to be so generous and kind. To care so much for your fellow man is a quality all too rare. Yet you give of your time and talents for all in need to share. So thank you for being a volunteer. We're privileged to work with you. We want you to know how appreciated you are, not just today, but the whole year through. And now, from your school. So you can cry with us. Some schools are fortunate to have a plethora of volunteers. Others, like Mellon, find they must reach out to a wider audience, such as grandparents, churches, and community members, to establish a pool of people able and willing to volunteer their time at a neighborhood school. Mrs. Jane Tillis is the mother of one of our second grade teachers, April Tillis. Initially, Mrs. Tillis would periodically come to help her daughter decorate her class, help with a specific class activity, or chaperone a field trip. Over a time, Jane's friendly smile and can-do attitude became a much more frequent sight on our campus. Jane Tillis does not restrict her volunteer hours to her daughter's classroom or to her grade level. She is more than willing and often does assist in a variety of areas around the campus of Mellon. It is not uncommon to see Jane sitting with a child reading or working on a math problem that has caused him to struggle. It is just as likely that you will find her escorting students on campus to various designations, assisting with program costumes, or filling backpacks with food for students who participate in Mellon's Blessings in a Backpack program. It is a volunteer such as Jane who truly makes Mellon a neighborhood school. We are fortunate to have people within our community who have time and see the importance of donating that time to help make our schools a better place. Without dedicated people, many things might not be accomplished so efficiently. It is with great pride that we, the faculty and staff of Mellon, nominate Mrs. Jane Tillis as Parent of the Month. Ms. Tillis, you are truly a blessing to the students and staff at Mellon Elementary. And we love you, and not just Mellon, but the whole district, because parents are the primary educators of students. And when a parent becomes involved with schools, students' learning is enhanced. So I need a hug and a full clap. Very much, Ellen.
I'm going to move on now to approval of our new policy, number 9320, which relates to civility. And I'd like to say how sad I am that we have to write a policy about civility, but here we are, 2015, and we've got one in the works. It's just saddening to me. But is there any discussion from the board on the policy?
Madam Chairman, I think at the last meeting, we expressed our distaste for having to develop a policy like this, but I think it is something that we're just caught up in the times and we're going to have to do. So I'll make a motion to approve, and anybody else wants to respond, they can.
There's a motion on the floor to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other conversation about it? Anybody from the public that would like to address the board on this policy? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Carries 5-0. Next on the agenda is the public comment guide. And I'd like to explain that each person who has filled out a card will be allowed to come up and address the board for 3 minutes. And we do have a timekeeper who's strict. He's gonna watch that clock and let you know. And let you know. Well, you both do it, and one of you get it right. Fighting over who's gonna,
Buckles can do it, you vice chair.
somebody do it. One of you, you're right, you got it. Okay, the first is Travis G. Roberts. He'd like to speak to us about the Crescent City High School Band. And if you would please speak your name and address for the record.
My name is Travis Roberts. I'm a columnist for the Courier Journal. I think each one of you got one of these. I'm not here to write a story. I already wrote the story. I do human interest stories. I don't bash people. I don't bash the county school board or anything. I have a big need over at the school board. If you could pass these around if you don't mind. I got involved with the kids at the high school band, and Jolene Sanford had asked me to come and write an article about 4 of the kids that won national titles in Georgia. This is what the kids were playing with. There's a big need down there. And I'm doing some fundraisers. They were supposed to take those this weekend and go down. I took those out of the kids' hands this past week. They were supposed to go to Tampa. They're on their way down there right now to represent this community. And I went myself and Larry from Winn-Dixie, we bought a few pair of drumsticks for them. But the equipment there is outdated. They're using shoestrings to hold up the bass. And I just want to find out if you guys can help. I'm doing some fundraisers with Winn-Dixie and getting Jeff Hardy and a few other people to do fundraisers. But if you guys can maybe match or somehow find some funds to help these kids out. You know, they need it bad. I mean, they've got quad drums, they've got a bare saxophone that's they borrowed from Ocala, and it's a $6,000 item. They can get the one refurbished maybe for $2,000. But, I mean, they're using shoestrings all over the bass. These kids march in every parade. Anytime I use them for the national anthems at the raceway or any place, they're always there. Football teams will be riding on top of the fire trucks and stuff, and these kids will walk out in front in the heat and everything, carrying these big instruments, just hold them up with basically nothing. They need a lot of help. About $20,000 will get them, minimal will get them to where they need to be. And it's not an extracurricular activity, it's a co-curricular. It goes on during school, and these are the nicest group of kids I've ever met in my life. Where I won't promote some of the sports because the kids are kind of snobs. You know, they expect me, I don't get paid 1 cent for what I do. I'm retired. I do this to help out the kids. I haven't found one kid, and I had a kid, if you'll read it in the paper, he tracked all the way across the parking lot, found me. I was hiding over trying to finish up an article. This kid found me just to thank me. You know, if you don't find that, these kids don't, none of these kids in this band have their pants down at half staff like their best friend died. You know, they all dress appropriate. They're all the nicest kids, and they're all, most of them are honorable students. I still can't read sheet music, and I've been playing for 40-something years. But I just want to find out if there's any way you guys can help these kids out. Try to maybe find some funds or something to help.
Yeah. Travis, I think the long and short of it is yes and no. I mean, yes, we're not going to send our kids into competition with splintered drumstick, and it's hard to come up with $20,000 and then equitably distribute that to Crescent City without the superintendent's directive through the finance department. So we'll look at it, I would suppose, and ask the superintendent to report back to us and see if there's something that we can do to ensure that our young people, you know, don't have splinters for drumsticks.
They leave in 2 weeks to go to Alabama to represent us. 3 of them do. And 4 of them won national titles. Only one of the kids at Crescent City, out of 400-some-thousand kids that entered, took first place there. That's pretty good, especially for this county, you know.
Absolutely. Well, I will say, Mr. Roberts, I take personal, definitely think about them a lot, because when I was a teacher there was no band, and it was pretty pitiful. And Miss Sanford has grown that department, and she does an amazing job. And I actually have a couple ideas. I'd love to contact you, and we could do some fundraising. I'm really a person that can always find some funds available. So, and I actually sent some money, matching grant your way that she did get, and spent about $1,000. But I know there's a lot more. But I'll definitely continue to work with her and contact her, because I I believe in those kids. They are everywhere. They're out and about. They're at the parades, the new raceway, I saw them, the racetrack. So I appreciate their dedication, and the least we can do is support them with their endeavors. So thank you for taking an interest. More people like you in the community giving back and taking time and speaking to us will really make a difference. So
The one main thing that they do need, and I know that all the rest of the high schools have them, is uniforms. These kids get out there and march, they don't even have any uniforms. It's
Right.
about $9,600 for uniforms.
right.
But right now, if I can just get some drumsticks and some,
Okay, we'll start small. We'll get yeah.
I need the drumsticks back.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your comments.
Where
We
I
do
don't
appreciate
think
you
these
coming
are
to
paying
talk to us.
Okay, thank you.
It's really hard. Every school needs something. The need is
Every club?
tremendous. All,
Every
yes,
band,
all the
every football
bands,
team,
the
everything.
the ag classes come and they want things, and drama wants more, and choral, and I mean the need goes on and on and on, and it really is a hard thing to have enough money to do for everybody at every school. And I don't, we only get so much money from the taxes and the money that comes into our finance department to run our schools. And of course, the primary thing that the state expects us to spend it on is hiring teachers and putting them in the classroom and providing them with textbooks. And a teacher and a textbook costs a good bit of money, but it's a lot less than what we're looking at when we try to provide everything for bands and drama and everything else that we certainly want to do. We don't have the tax base of, say, St. Johns County. Their programs, I'm sure none of them look like that. And if we were able, and I think what a lot of people don't understand is the dollars that we get in the school district are categorical. And in those categories, you can only spend the money on those particular items. So if you have a textbook fund and you don't need textbooks this year, you can't spend that money on it. I couldn't take it and say, we're going to buy instruments for the band. So when you're stuck with categories and money can't be crossed over, it really creates a problem for us. And I think later today you're going to talk about the foundation. That might be a good place for us to look at doing some of this. So we'll have a conversation about it later. Thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Thank you, Travis.
Okay, next up is Marsha Cruz. Please state your name and address for the record.
Okay. I am Marcia Cruz, and I live at 100 North Ivy in Florida. And I know if you've read your email, you know why I'm here. Can't let it go, but I'm talking to you about it. I'm here to voice my concerns over our district's decision to no longer support Apple products. As many of you know, that has been near and dear to my heart for 6 years. We've made a lot of progress, but I don't want to see us going backwards. Apple has 94% of the tablet market in education. There's a reason for that. They've sold 243 million devices in the last 12 months and 12.9 million iPads in just the last quarter. They're impacting the way that our students learn and the way that our teachers teach. How are we going to not allow our students to have these devices in their hands as well? Every place around you, all the other kids, all around these kids are going to have access to those devices. I would hate to see us go back to just being a single platform district. I know one of the things that's a big concern is the network bandwidth that these products use. And some districts are banning them from their network, but a lot of other districts, many, many more, are embracing them. It's not impossible, but it does require some research and some dogged determination so that we can make this happen. And it is happening all around us. I happen to have found some stuff for you. So If you Google problems with iPad rollouts in education, you're gonna find a whole bunch of problems. IT departments are out there sharing the experiences they've had rolling these things out. And that doesn't mean that it's impossible, because if you do that same Google search query and you put solution to iPad problems, you get this kind of stuff. It's possible, it can be done, and I believe we would be doing our students a big disservice not to do it. I understand, that money is tight, but we find ways to do things that are most important to us. And I think this is very important to our students. We can provide our students and our teachers with Apple devices and Windows devices, because there's certainly a place for both of those. It should not be one or the other. And I hope that you will find a way to support the progress we've made and not set us back to being limited to what we can do in our classrooms with our children, and what we can provide, the tools we can provide our teachers with that they have already bought into. For 6 years, you got people who have fallen in love with this platform, and now we're going to switch them to another. I hope they don't become disenfranchised.
The 3 minutes are up. I'm sorry, Ms. Cruz.
That's fine, thank you. And thank you for listening to me, and I hope
Thank you for
we
bringing
can-
this to our
I hope we can have an
attention.
open discussion about it, and with input from parents and teachers, especially ESE parents. Thank you.
Could I
That's
just
a
say,
good idea.
to alleviate any concerns that you may have, let me just say that certainly the devices we have out there will continue to support. We put a lot of research into this. We don't do things idly. The most recent technology research says there is a global shift in educational technology, and although Apple's iPad is currently the mobile device of choice, there are some compelling reasons why educators recently have begun to choose Chromebooks over iPads, netbooks, and PCs. First of all, they're cheaper. They also can be deployed in just days, a matter of days, instead of the time it takes for iPads. The ease of security, there's not the headaches that we have with the iPads. They turn on in 8 seconds and they last for 8 hours. Chromebooks offer a very super simple management, and keyboards are still necessary with the Chromebooks, which teaches our children to use a keyboard because they're going to have to do that on the tests that the state requires that we take. So those are just a few of the things, and certainly we do have a presentation ready for you, but we weren't planning to do that until February, so we'll do that at that time. But this is not something that I take lightly. You have to look at cost, you have to look at what it's going to do for the child, and you also have to look at preparing kids for the testing that DOE is going to do. And if teachers get disenfranchised, oh my goodness, as fast as technology is changing and as fast as we're going to have to change out what we're doing, they need to get over that, because it's going to change faster than we can keep up with. So what we currently have will continue to service and take care of. We will look certainly at the special needs of ESE, but also if you have an iPad, as I do, I have a personal iPad that I brought. It connects to that internet all the time. It's running, and we in Putnam County can't afford the infrastructure. Flagler County does it because they did the penny sales tax and they put every penny of it towards infrastructure and technology. So they got the dollars to do this. So there are reasons that we're doing what we're doing, and we'll give you a full report at the next board meeting.
Thank you.
Please include cost analysis for us.
Absolutely.
Great.
Big cost difference, yes.
Thank you. Okay, the next and final person to speak to us is Barbara Warren. I'm sorry, I skipped one. Sorry, come on, Barbara.
I think Superintendent Creswell pretty much covered it. I wasn't here basically to represent the volunteer fire departments, but I know that a lot of them didn't get to come today because they're at regular jobs. And just to say a little bit about how much I appreciate all of them coming to work with me every day. and serving the community and putting in hours and hours of service and classes and certifications and all that. I just wanted to kind of be here to represent them, and I'm also here to represent the Oregon Area Volunteer Fire Department, and thank you for taking the time to pay attention.
Absolutely. And if,
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little?
Yes, ma'am, I actually am an instructor with Florida State Fire College, but I'm also a teacher in Putnam County.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, I do teach the firefighters, but that's not what I'm up here for. But
Okay.
I just wanted to make reference to the people who go through all this training, who put aside their families, because I'm in class with a whole bunch of them right now, and we have to do 160 hours of training in the next couple of months, and it takes a lot. So I just wanted to say that those volunteers, there's hundreds of them out there in Putnam County that are serving the citizens, and, you know, I appreciate everything that they do.
if you,
Thank you very much.
if you'd let them know, call me, tell me when their next meeting is. I'll be happy to come and present the certificates to all of them.
First Monday of next month.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Tony Poprosky, I'm very sorry to have
No, you didn't butcher
skipped
it all.
over
You did a
you.
great job.
No, I mean, I skipped over you. You were supposed to be third, but second. You're last. We saved the best till last.
All right.
Okay, name and address for the record,
My
please.
name's Tony Peprowski. I live at 1801 South Palm Avenue in Palatka. I am a current school board employee in the maintenance department, and I came to speak today about the insurance policy that should be, in my mind, in my personal opinion, changed for the employees. I realize that this has been a hot topic as of late, and I wanted to come and express some of my plight as an employee as far as the way that the insurance lays out for the employee and as opposed to what employees have to do to get quality insurance, and it's not through the school district. It's choking employees. I don't know exactly how the insurance committees, how they have brought it to the attention of the board or the superintendent, but in my mind, I believe that they have fallen very much short on giving the unabashed truth on the way that our insurance is provided. Now, whether some of these insurance committee people they may not have children, on their policy, they may not have children in their house. It may not serve necessarily their needs to rock the boat and say, well, we need to have a change. But I can assure you, for employees that have children that look at these prices, and this is the effective January 1 of 2015, this is the insurance price list. And I can assure you, the employees are not being done right by this price list. I also would like to bring to the board the point of when was the last time, as a board, did they vote for an increase in the insurance contribution? I understand that in Putnam County, we're not St. Johns County, we're not Flagler County, and I understand that, and that's fine. I love living here. But most people want the instant gratification of, well, we can either get a raise or we can contribute more to the insurance. Well, maybe half, maybe a third of the employees of the Putnam County School District say, well, I've got insurance through my spouse that works at Georgia Pacific or Seminole, Lafarge. That's great, but in these changing times, you just talked about changing times. I know that there's one individual in my department that was on his wife's insurance, and due to the spouse end of their insurance going up, he now currently has to get school board employee insurance. I know myself, I'm on Plan D. Right now, just a few facts and figures. I pay currently $263 for an individual policy for my 2.5-year-old. I just had a child 12 days ago, and we will buy another policy for her. Now, this is basically with the insurance policy that we have been given through this, or that we could have gotten through the school board, would be $40, not even $40 less than what I pay currently with me and my wife's insurance policy. Now, with the Plan D insurance, if we had school board insurance and we had our children on Plan D with us, we would be paying a $75 copay per visit. We paid a $10 copay with our own individual policy that we went out and got ourselves not 2 days ago at the doctor's office in St. Augustine. I asked the board, I believe that I'm correct in thinking that Thursday is going to be the day that all of this comes to a head.
Was when we hear from our candidates, right?
Okay.
We're interviewing her.
We're interviewing. We're not making decisions on that day.
It's a
Okay.
special meeting.
Oh, it's a special meeting. Oh, we are, okay.
We
My
can
bad.
make a decision.
We can make a
Hopefully we
decision.
do make a decision.
Well, me personally as an employee, and I wish that some other employees, I tried to put out the word on this. You know, this needs to be if the employees want something changed, they all need to be on board with it. They don't need to sit in the shadows. They don't need to say, well, it's not gonna make a difference, because it is gonna make a difference. Because I can assure you, this is a drum that I plan on beating for a long, long, long time. And how are you gonna recruit the best and the brightest to come to Putnam County? I understand, and everything is always compared to St. Johns County with a tax base, but quite frankly, you've got to stay competitive to some degree with surrounding counties, because how is somebody gonna come to Putnam County and say, well, this is where I'm gonna raise my children as a school teacher, and this is what I wanna do? Something's gotta change. I mean, something has absolutely got to change. And it is my wish that this board makes the correct decisions for the employees themselves, for their employees, for their children, for everybody. Because the decision you make in the long run will have effect on us for the long term. Past term limits, if any one of these board members right here either, decides to retire or what have you, it will affect us for years and years to come, and my children and other employees' children.
I'm sorry, but your time is up, Mr. Kaprowski.
Okay.
I can tell you, I've been on the school board here for, this is my 5th year, and 20 years ago I served a term. And I can tell you from my heart that we do try to do what's best for the employees. We have the employees right after the kids on our list. And it's hard to make these decisions, but one of the reasons we're interviewing all day Thursday is to try and do better by the employees. You have to know that healthcare costs have gone up all over, everywhere. So we were trying with Plan D to offer people something they could afford. We know that the co-pays are high and this and that, but it's more affordable that you have something. It's more or less catastrophic, but it's something. And it's just difficult, but we do have 7 interviews going on with different brokers on Thursday, and we hope to select one and do the best by you guys that we can.
Another question that I have is what kind of transparency or what kind of public knowledge is available, facts and figures, on why you went with X insurance group? Why is it that, well, these are the guys, this is the group that we feel can provide the best for the best cost?
Well, we have a 3-page checklist that we're gonna rank these 7 people on.
And this is public record?
All
This is
public
public
record.
record, it's an open meeting on Thursday,
right.
and it's all public record, how we come to the decision that we make.
Okay.
And just so you know, we're in the boat with you. My wife's a teacher. We get our insurance here. I know there's others people on the board. They get their insurance here.
So you understand our plight?
We're in the same boat with you. That's
Yes.
right. That's right. So please know that we're with you, brother.
And I totally get that, and I'm not trying to point the finger to anybody
Right.
on this board whatsoever.
Right.
All I know is that it is it's great to get a raise one minute, but then it goes right back out the next.
You're right.
Twice as much.
For insurance.
You're-
It happens every year, and I've been here 8 years, and it's happened more often than not.
Yeah, you're right.
That's not gonna help out anybody. It's not gonna help out your employees. And if teachers are the bedrock of education, you gotta take care of them.
I
And I
agree.
live with a teacher, and believe me, I hear it plenty.
I live with one too. I live with one
I have a
too.
daughter who all 4 of her girls are on a separate policy and do not go with the school board, so I hear it too. So thank you so much, Tony, for sharing that with
We're
us.
with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tony.
Miss Jorgensen, a teacher was emailed. You okay?
Yeah.
She was working and she asked a public comment. You're welcome to
You're
come
welcome
up.
to come up, we have,
I've never known you to turn down a chance to speak, Lisa.
I don't know where we left off, so I mean,
Just-
I'm sure Tony covered everything I wanted to say.
No, come on up. If
Come
you
on.
you need a special
I'll
trip,
come up
we want
for
you
that.
to, you're dedicated to
And
our
you're probably gonna, he probably already heard all these questions, so.
No, it's okay.
JD, you coming?
you have 3 minutes, that's the only
Okay.
thing. We restrict you to 3 minutes.
I'm timing it.
And
Okay,
David's
okay, well, you
time.
go ahead and time it, because I'm gonna have to, since I came in at the end of the meeting, we have brokers coming in, different insurance companies coming in
Thursday.
to
We're
discuss.
interviewing them.
Okay, well, okay, that's good. My second biggest issue is the Plan D. I feel really bad at my school because I encouraged my teachers at my school to take Plan D because it was affordable. And I gave them the whole big spiel about if your Plan C costs you $200 a month, then, and your Plan D is $7 a month, then you take that $190 and you put it in your health savings account. And then that money is yours, and, you know, you don't have it on this one. So I encouraged them. But, you know, now we're paying $150 a month, and our cost out of pocket hadn't changed, so we're really not saving anything. And I've been put in a situation where I truly encouraged people to take this plan, and now I feel bad that I encouraged them too. And, you know, they're looking at me and they're saying, hey, you know, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I sent an email to my school. Some people here got it. I don't know how they got it, but anyway, they got it. And I encouraged them to come here, that our voices are not going to be heard if we sit at our school and do nothing. You know, we got to come in, we got to say, hey, this is what's got to happen, this is what's got to be done. I just went to the doctor yesterday, found out that the 2 medications that I'm going to have to go on for my lifetime are not covered by our insurance. So, you know, it's very discouraging that I'm probably going to meet my deductible after the 2nd month. So, you know, at $3,500, and that's just, you know, what are we going to do? We're between a rock and a hard place here. So I'm sure my 3 minutes aren't up, and
They're not.
They're not.
I just wanted to vent a little bit, but, you know, something's got to be done. I mean, because we've got people here that, you know, as Tony said, he's here for life. His children are here for life. You know, they're going to be affected by this forever. And I appreciate that we are looking at other alternatives.
Lisa, I've been bombarded with phone calls. I was Friday in particular. Let me ask you, why are the employees reluctant to come and share their opinions? I mean, I know everybody has a faculty rep, and that's the intent, to let the faculty rep.
Yeah, throw them under the bus. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. And I tell them, I said, you know, in fact, after my email I sent to him this morning, I said, I hate to be on a soapbox, but, you know, we're strength in numbers. If we don't come here and we don't say what we feel, then nothing is ever going to change.
Right.
And you need to do something. You know, we need to do something. I mean, my daughter has never been on school board insurance, even when I was in Seminole County, because they had the same situation. Their employee plus one policy is just as expensive as, you know, the ones here. So, I don't know.
I'm just curious.
Okay, I'm going to do a little political thing now, but Obamacare promised free health care to all who couldn't afford it.
And that's not quite true.
But somebody's got to pay for it. And so healthcare costs go up. And insurance companies are in business to make money. So their rates go up. It's not just in Putnam County that we're battling this battle to keep healthcare affordable. It's going on all over the country. Oh, so I'll just leave it
And I
at
have to
that.
say, I work at the college, and until now, I've been on their insurance, and it's going up just like ours has here every year. I mean, it's not just in Putnam County, it's not just in Putnam County School Board.
I just appreciate the fact that we're looking at
We're
other
doing our
options.
best.
But, you know,
And that's-
and it may be just as high
It
with
may
other
be, but
options.
at least there's been
No.
an effort made
Exactly.
that we are looking at other policies,
Right.
at other
Exactly.
carriers.
Exactly.
So I think that's the most important thing.
And
But
that
I
was
don't know,
the-
to answer your question, David, I don't know why they don't come. I tried to light a fire, but.
Years ago, they used to fill up boardrooms. I guess it was just my personality.
Yeah, because you're so sweet.
Everybody likes you. That's what it was.
Yeah, they all
I
think
can
so,
remember
David.
Phyllis standing in the chair.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee.
Thank you.
Everybody just loves you, Bubbles.
Yeah, they came because there was always
Hundreds
controversy.
of them.
Yeah.
Standing room only. Well, we'll reconvene.
Okay, we are up to the consent agenda. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to pull anything from the consent agenda for further consideration? Board members, I'll start with you, Ms. Crawford.
No.
Nikki, David?
No, ma'am.
I have two, G1 and H4. I just have questions, really.
G1 and H4.
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I move we accept the consent agenda minus G1 and
I
H4.
second it.
Motion and second, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. 5-0. Motion carries. Okay, approval of personnel matters. We're approving a job description on this. And wasn't it at our workshop just now, we said we didn't approve job
You
descriptions?
approve qualifications, is what was said.
But this is a job description there,
Right.
job title and the qualifications. I guess
That's what
my,
we approved.
okay, my question is, is this making another allocation?
Let me pull it up. Debbie
Its
is,
job title is planning specialist, associate's degree, valid letter, et cetera. It's a planning specialist, 2 years' experience in building and facility construction.
Would only be increasing if you had an allocation request. Do you have a request to the?
No,
Just approval of
It's
it.
just approval of the job description.
The appropriation for the year.
Okay, well, I have no problem with the job description. I was just concerned if we're creating another position, which I'm sure will be on the next
I
agenda.
do recall Ms. Decabellis mentioning that as this year unfolds, she's going through each job description and updating the
Updating
job
them.
titles. And so every meeting, we've got some, that the job title is changing, and then making sure that the qualifications are updated.
and that may be what this is. Her mother was taken to the hospital with possible heart attack this afternoon, just before the board meeting, so she wasn't sure she could get here. I think that's what this is,
Yeah.
but without her being here, I can't tell you for sure, but I will have her email you all tomorrow.
Well, as long as we're not adding another allocation in this
Right.
process,
Oh,
I
no,
have no
Rhonda
problem.
would be involved in that, and she
Yeah.
wouldn't let us do that anyway,
Well,
so.
you never know. So I will entertain a motion to approve item G1.
Madam Chair, I
Yes.
move we approve G1.
Second? Is there a second? Jane? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Say no. Carries 5-0. I spoke with Helen a little bit, and, no, you don't have to come up, and Debbie. My only question is, where's the money coming from?
Title II.
Title II? I was just, it didn't say, and I want to make sure you aren't general, our 22,000 that we have left in reserves. But it's a service agreement with School Improvement Network to provide 24/7 help to our teachers anytime they want, 24/7. Lesson plans, et cetera, with the new Common Core, the new Florida State standards. It really looks like a great deal. So I will, unless somebody else, you have a question?
Helen, can any of this be used for teacher recertification?
Yes.
Okay, good, that's
Yes.
excellent.
Do you remember when we had it, when we were younger?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Well, at that point in time, it was difficult because the technology was not available to provide the ongoing communication. But now that technology is there, so it can be used for MIP points and recertification.
That's excellent.
That's great.
Wonderful.
Anybody else?
I move we approve.
Second?
Motion and second on the floor to approve item H4. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carries 5-0. Okay, we are now going out of regular session and into emergency session. We have one item. It's a change order for the building here, actually. And it's just that we can buy this stuff out of purchasing and save sales tax and blah, blah, blah. So it looks like we're spending less, but we're not really. So it's just a formality at this point. And
I make a motion we approve.
Second?
any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 5-0. We have no old business under new business. Discussion and information on
You
Putnam.
gotta give us out of emergency session.
Oh, sorry, we're out of emergency session and into regular session. Now, there's no old business and there's no new business. And we'll have discussion and information on Putnam County School Education Foundation.
We had a foundation a long time ago, and it was given to, it was called EDGE for Educational Excellence. We had it for years. We had a community board, and they approved money being spent out of it. My understanding, when I was elected 2 years ago, was that the previous administration gave it to Edge, the charter school. That's where they got the name. And because there was a 501c3 already, they didn't have to apply for one. And because Edge had been in existence for a number of years, that gave an advantage to them as they applied for their charter and so forth. So, so we lost our foundation because they so in order to get a new one, we've got to do a 501c3 and all the paperwork and all the hoops that you have to jump through. Previously, we had a committee, I think, that was actually outside the district. It's very hard to find personnel in the district to try to set up a foundation that really is separate to the district. We've worked on it. Charles Jenkins has written bylaws based on what he's researched we're supposed to do, but a lot of paperwork and a fee will have to be paid to get the 501c3. I think it's very important to do. And I had a brief conversation with the board attorney earlier about it, and I thought maybe I'd let him speak to it as well, because he's involved in some foundations and sees that this could be a very good thing for the students of Putnam County. But you want to kind of tell them some of the things we talked about?
Sure. The advantage of having a foundation, of course, for the students and for the teachers, is that there will be hopefully additional funds to be able to draw from that might not be earmarked or available for things like band equipment or uniforms or something of that nature. And then there's an added benefit of people who will be contributing money to the foundation, that they receive a tax benefit. So for tax planning or for offsetting some income, there may be folks in this community who would welcome the opportunity to contribute to the foundation and receive those benefits as well. We're certainly willing to work with whomever at the district to see about setting that up and getting the proper designations from the Internal Revenue Service, making sure the articles of organization are correctly adopted and the bylaws are prepared in the proper order. But we will, of course, seek the board's input as to whether the board believes that's a good idea and what kind of guidance the board would like to see in establishing that entity.
I just looked up foundation in the statutes, and it does say that that money has to be used on the kids. Mm-hmm. It has to. So this gentleman that asked for the band uniform, I mean, this is the perfect, to me, the perfect way to go. Does anybody have an objection?
No, I think foundation's
And I think,
great.
I think Charlie's firm doing it is a good idea.
I will speak up a little. I went to a one-day workshop on foundations because I've become involved with the state actually allocates money for foundations, education's matching funds, so I pursued that, wrote a small, quick little grant to make sure we did not lose that matching funds again, because it's very, very detrimental to me to think we lose a dime. So it did happen, and we did it through NEFAC, through their 501c3, as like Gilchrist and a couple other small ones have done in the past. But it's so important, and I went, and there's so many opportunities and so many amazing, huge corporations, more Motorola, AT&T, that you go and apply, and it's through foundation work that it would happen. So I've actually spoken with some people in the community asking, hey, would you be interested? We need a board, we need this, we need that. So I'm actually very motivated and want to do whatever it takes to make it happen, so I can work with Charlie and kind of the names I've already talked to, and people that are like, okay, yeah, there's workshops, there's available resources, there's these foundation meetings. When you realize what other counties are doing and how much money they're making, it's like, why reinvent the wheel when you can go to these meetings and see what's going on, and how that would be a person like that writing a letter to to this foundation from the band saying this is what we need, and you can just
every other district in the state, including the NEFAC districts, they don't want me to do this, because what happens is that matching money they give out in October, in January, if the district hasn't gotten their money because they haven't met the match, they divide it among the other districts. So anyway, what every other district does, they have somebody that does the foundation. It's either a full-time volunteer, if you're lucky, like St. Johns County, to have a person that wants to do that full-time. Some of them pay them out of the foundation, a percentage of what they raise. Some of them split fund them between the foundation and the district, and some of them have district employees that the district actually pays a salary to do the foundation, so that it's ongoing and somebody's working on it all the time. So as we move into doing this foundation and we get our 501c3, we need to decide, it would be hard for you all or anybody else to volunteer on a regular basis to handle all the things that need to be done, the paperwork for the state matching funds and so forth. So if we are going to do this right, we need to have a person that this is their sole job, whether we pay them out of the foundation or split fund them or pay them from the district. And if it's a district need that you see and you want to talk about doing that, either a part-time or a full-time position, I would have Rhonda add that to her list of things to look at for next year's budget. And then if we got them and we did well with the foundation, we do have, according to the state, we legally can pay them out of the foundation. So if we wanted to switch them to that at some point after we get it up and running, that's a possibility. But there's a lot of possibilities there. It's just whatever you all would like to do.
Let me ask a question. Now, this is showing that I was not as involved for a little bit of time, but I mean, I remember many years ago when we started the foundation, how hard it was to build it. Can a superintendent unilaterally dissolve the foundation and send it to a school? Or does it take a board vote to do that? I would like Mr. Douglas to look at that, because if we go through all this and something happens, you get a new superintendent and they decide they're gonna send it somewhere, I mean, I don't know. I still can't get over that the actions of a prior board could bind the actions of a future board. So I don't know how it could possibly be not done and not be board approved.
I think it was board approved.
No, it was not. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not trying to start, I just want to make sure going into the future that we find a way that it can't be unilaterally done away with by a superintendent. I mean,
those precautions have been taken care of in the bylaws and the articles that are written.
Okay.
So it won't occur by the new bylaws and articles.
But I can't
And
imagine.
the previous ones, it was also written in there, but it was a little gray.
It's vague.
But it was written there, and it still occurred. But the new ones, it's spelled out.
It was my understanding that Edge was just about defunct when it was given to New Tech. Is that right, Pam? I know you were involved.
Well, Edge, when I was working for Mr. Buckles, it was, it does still have a stream of income from
License
automobile
plates.
tax, educational automobile tax, which was about $1,200 a year. And the previous superintendent did try to got a new board, but then that board was the one who got the charter school, and there really was no way for it to stay. It couldn't operate as, just in what seems obvious to me, it could not operate as the charter school sponsor, but yet still be the foundation for the, so it just seemed, actually, we did that when Miss Criswell was elected and came in. We just, everything, Ms. Freeman, who is the head of that board now, she and I together calculated the amount of money that was in there when the foundation took the school, and that's the only reason we started them internal accounts, because we had to put that money somewhere. It was money that had been in there previously.
I'm not criticizing them, I'm just wanting to know if, like Charles said, if we go forward and we have a great year and we pick up $200,000, and the next year we pick up $150,000, and things start coming along, that, if I want to just assure that if we're not on the board in a few years, the superintendent can't just give it away, something that you put together.
Well, the money wasn't given away.
Or the foundation, the 501c.
Well, the 501c was, right?
That's a lot of work.
Well, I know,
Anyway.
I've done them.
Okay, that's all.
I know.
I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else have anything on this? Okay, we are on reports. Board member, I'll start with you, Jane.
Okay, before school was out for Christmas, I had the opportunity to go to E.H. Miller for their Christmas program, and it was the most Phyllis was there, and other people, Helen. It was wonderful, and what those teachers do with those students is just amazing. But the most important thing I want to say is on a much more serious note. 2 days before Christmas, one of my closest friends, 23-year-old son, died of a drug overdose. He was one of my students at Palatka High School. He was an honor student. He was in the gifted program. And when he graduated from Palatka High School, he joined the National Guard and was in our unit here in Palatka. He was attending St. John's River State College until his drug problem got so bad that he had to go to rehab down in Delray Beach, Florida. And he was there, and he was doing really well and was in a halfway house. And the drugs just got the best of him, and he overdosed and died. His parents did everything in their power to save Clint. I don't know what else they could have done, but that's because his mother researched and researched and researched, trying to find a way to save her son. Since I left Palatka High School, I have lost 3 students to drug overdose. That was 4 years ago. I know that we have Red Ribbon Week and we make posters against drugs, but I guess what I'm saying is I want to know what we're doing in the Putnam County School District to try to help our students and to help our parents keep this from happening. We're losing a generation of students to drugs. They're in our schools, they're on the streets. I don't know how to stop it. You know, as a guidance counselor, I've met with parents over and over, many who were in denial, didn't want to hear it, but many who wanted help. And, you know, I was not really trained to help a student who was on drugs. But, you know, I would like to find out from someone, what are we doing in our schools to help situations like that? That's all I'm going to say.
I think interagency, I think we work with the other agencies. I know the Marchman Center.
We do a lot.
Counsels our kids.
I mean, we could prepare a presentation if
That
you
would be
like for.
But our students are getting ongoing education about drugs. I mean, is it only in certain grades? Is it?
No, it's when you see a problem, we have resources.
Okay, so
The problem's
it's not
already there.
prevention, it's,
You know, I'll tell you something, back in the 80s, when Ronald Reagan's wife started to say no to drugs, just say no. The federal government allocated money to every school. That's how I started my business, with say no to drugs. No money comes to our schools now, nothing
I know.
for that.
I know,
So
it's so hard, but
it's important.
Yes, it is. And, Ms. Criswell, what we can do at the next board meeting, we can have Michelle Carter come.
Yes.
She's our project liaison, that we actually have a drug prevention program, and is it through the sheriff's? I don't know.
It's-
It used to be the general fund, now funds it.
We fund it,
It's only
yeah.
$115,000 a year that we
Right.
put in it, but the sheriff's office used to do it, and they cut funding, and we made a decision as a district to continue the funding, and she sets forth a budget each year, and I bring it and discuss it with management and see if we can fund it again, and this year it was $115,000. It was not a lot of money, but
It's all we can do right now, and Michelle Garner can come and give us that
Yes, and
presentation.
she can tell you
so-
what they do with those funds that
Yeah.
we do provide her for
Okay.
that. And it is called a drug prevention program. And I believe it's alcohol abuse also. I mean, there's some other things involved in that. So I just want to let you know
Right.
that.
You could write your legislature and ask them to speed up capital punishment for drug dealers and do that. That would probably be a very beneficial thing, because
For our kids in the schools.
as the ones that provide it to them, as school superintendent, and like you, I've lost the same kids. I know exactly who you're talking about, and I've been to funerals, and I've, been there when they pull them out of car and stuff, it's not fun. And the only thing I can say is we're in trouble in America if we don't get a handle on it and find a way to straighten it out, so.
I believe it's a health problem, like alcoholism. Drug addiction is a disease. I think until this country starts to treat it like a health problem and not a war, because if anybody hasn't noticed, 30 years later, we're not winning this war on drugs. And I really believe until it's it's acknowledged that it's a health problem. You can get rid of all the dealers, you know what, these kids are gonna find it.
Yeah,
The
we
drug
have to-
addicts will find a way to get it. You have to get rid of the need, not the supplies. That's my 2 cents.
I don't, yeah,
Which I'm always
Jane, I
putting in.
appreciate you saying that. You have to have a bifurcated system, and this is what I mean. You have to deal with those who use one way and those who deal another.
Yes.
They're not the same people,
Right.
all right? Those who use, it is a health issue, period, bottom line. There needs to be mandatory rehab. Rehab needs to be at least 90 to 120 days, right? Dealers need to be dealt with severely and harshly. You make it cost high to peddle, people stop peddling, but you gotta treat the users too. You have to treat them differently. So,
And the parents
that's my 2
need to
cents.
be more aware
Right.
of, you know, the
The
signs.
signs.
Right.
We've got school employees whose children have taken the doors off of their homes and
I
sold
know,
them.
David.
I mean, you could go on and on. It's just, if you want to talk heartbreak, it's out there. It's terrible.
I would like to shadow that a little and
That's your
also
word.
offer the thankful and condolences of the losses that I've seen, and it's very heartbreaking. But as the schools that we keep on keeping on, and the principals, the administration, we always try to involve parents, and I just want to thank, I was at a movie night for parents, it's free, you know, you bring your kids, you just do family activities, and our schools are doing that across the county, and it's so important to do that, and anything that may go unnoticed that the teachers or the schools plan that think, oh gosh, you know, we're not making a difference, but you are, because you're inviting parents, and you're getting the small glimpse of hope that we can have parent involvement. I definitely feel like it comes down to parent involvement and the lack thereof. Just came out that we are now officially the poorest county in Florida, and so there are so many things our poor kids have to deal with on a regular basis, that when we can offer them a smile, a glimpse of hope in that classroom, and each teacher does that, and it's not on a VAM model, it's not on any kind of,
Right.
you can't see it, but when you actually, I mean, you can't see it on paper, but you can see it, and I see it all the time, and I thank our teachers for spending their extra time, money, energy to show that love, because it happens, and I've seen it over and over and over, and it's something that will make a difference and really will show that love that the kids may not get, and they think they have to turn to drugs, but you know what, if we can just give them the hope that they can get through this, I mean, we have them 7 hours a day, and when we can show them love and a smile on their face, I just appreciate.
Teachers love them like their own.
They do, and they get upset. I know there's a lot of heartbroken
Right.
teachers with their students that have passed away, and they think, oh, you know, so it's real and it's emotional, and we just have to continue to keep our eyes forward on the goal and getting parents involved and loving the kids the best we can when we have them, so I do appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Buckles.
I'd like to thank everyone who spoke today as they came forward, Lisa and Tony and the different ones that came, the lady with the fire department. I think it means so much to us to actually hear from somebody other than our staff, and though it's important to hear from staff, it makes it real when you put a face on it. Jane now, you know, she talked about the kids that we've lost, and you know, and she can tell you this, by and large, we've got the overwhelming majority are wonderful, wonderful young people, but they do get exposed to things at home and that we don't like, you know, and years ago we purchased drug dogs and had them in the schools, and you know, I had nothing but grief from a handful of folks that didn't think it was right to bring dogs into school, and the minute you walked in with a dog, the kids would raise their hands and say, I'm the kid with the drugs, and you know, we kind of got it out of there for a while, but you know, that's too expensive now to pay for another trained dog, and didn't seem like everybody really wanted it, so you know, you can only try so hard, and what is our job? It's teaching and learning, and the intervention that counselors and employees can have, such as teachers as advisors or guidance counselors, make a lot of difference. So we just have to continue to do more with less, and I sound like a broken record because I did that for so many years, but I can't thank everyone enough. I've really been educated on some of the problems with the insurance. Whether I wanted it or not, I was given a lot of opinions, and they have certainly increased my desire to listen in the meeting that is coming up on Thursday. With that, I look forward to the spring and the things that we have coming forward, and hopefully we can get together and, you know, we've got some good things coming on at Middleton Bernie, and then the career tech would come along with that. I'll try to apprise you guys as I gather information on what we can do there. So with that, Kathy, I'll pass it on.
Sure.
Yeah, just a couple things. As Kim prayed earlier, we do want to pray for remember the Rayburn family lost of their child. They're my neighbors. They live a couple of streets over, and I was over there last night. And as I think Nikki mentioned, what our teachers do to support each other is not seen, it's not measured, but I will tell you it is real. Went over there last night. They've already set up a fund to help the family. They were bringing food. I know the superintendent was there earlier. We missed each other. And so I just want to say just how proud I am of the Kelly Smith family and how they have rallied around this family and loved them and encouraged them. And people from the community. It was just, we live here for a reason, folks. Let's not forget that. We live here for a reason because we're not a number. We're a name. We're a face, and we're real people. That's why we live here. And so that matters. And also want to just mention that there were some questions I think Mr. Modell directed perhaps came around about, I got it, about the conditions for the meeting on Thursday, Mark. I guess this is from you, I don't know, yep. The chairman can make these decisions, so I'm gonna pass this on to the chairman because it all has to do with meeting management, right? And so she is empowered to do that, so she gets the job. So we pass along to her. And then finally, big thank you to all the teachers who came back from vacation way too early. Right, teachers, those of you who are here, right? Yeah, came back way too early, but got back in the classroom and are doing a great job. Thank you for what you do, and we're going to have a great spring. Ms. Jorgensen.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you for chairing our workshop. We had a workshop with the board auditor, and it was a great one, and Terry kept us on track. I'm always doing this to the board, but when we closed out the books last year, 13-14, we had a $2.4 million unrestricted fund balance, and now we have $22,000. And it just makes me nervous. We have a mandated 3%, but the extra money we have on books is $22,000. I'd like to say congratulations and thank you to Mr. Tom Bates. He has been an invaluable asset to this district for many years, and I know he's always willing to help anybody that has a question or a problem, and he is going to be retiring at the end of this month, so we don't expect to see you here anymore.
He's going to volunteer, too late.
Yeah, right. But thank you so much, sincerely, from the bottom of our heart. We all appreciate you. Okay, what about working with the sheriff's department to come randomly with their dogs? They've got drug dogs all over the place.
They do.
They walk.
They do come?
Yeah.
You gotta call them now?
Yeah.
Or they just randomly?
Travis Weaver sets that up with them
Okay,
if a
good.
principal has a concern, and we
Well,
do
good.
that, yes.
We had
Well,
used
good.
to have a full-time drug dog and deputy.
Yeah, and you never knew when he was.
We're not stopped in.
It worked very well.
Okay, we spoke about the possibility of a 3 o'clock workshop before each meeting for an auditor report. Do we want to set that, or do we want to? I was thinking once a month, instead of, because we have 2 meetings a month more often than not. So rather than twice a month, maybe the first meeting of each month.
Once a month.
Once a month, the
Sounds
first
good with
meeting,
me.
the first
Yep.
meeting, do we all agree?
Yep.
Yes, first meeting of each month, then we will have a 3 o'clock workshop in addition to the 1 o'clock, and the 3 o'clock will be with board auditor and about the board auditor.
Hey, can we just make that in the boardroom, Kathy? Just go ahead and say we'll do that workshop in the boardroom, so we're
Here?
Yeah,
Okay, yes, unless there's gonna be another facility for workshops ready. There
okay.
may be a nice room, there's some nice rooms in here, I saw them.
Right.
But there might be somewhere that, otherwise, it will be here, 3 o'clock, our February meeting, 3 o'clock here, well, actually 1 o'clock here for our workshop. And I wanted to get some input from my fellow board members. Rhonda has graciously agreed to give us a report at our March 13th meeting on our financial status, just to update us where we are. And then she'll come back in May and July and do the budget with us. So I'm really looking forward to that, and if anything changes with her, we'll adjust. If anything changes with us, she'll adjust. But for right now, that's the plan. Now, the other ones we have up for grabs is Solution Center, Strategic Plan, and anything else the board is interested in. My top choice is Solution Center, but we can wait on that. For one thing, I would really like each board member to get over there for a visit before we have our workshop. Also, the Putnam Edge is leaving at the end of this year, yes? They're supposed to be. If they do you have plans for that, or can we bring it back to Solution Center?
Well, they'll be where they are now. You're talking about the charter school, right?
Yeah, they're supposed to move.
And I don't know anything about that. They haven't talked to me about it. They haven't put anything in writing. So until I hear from them officially, my understanding is that they have a company that's going to renovate for them, so it will be ready. But I don't have anything. I mean, that's just hearsay.
Right.
So
okay.
And a point of order really quick, because I know that with the board attorney, do we want him to be at all the workshops, at some of the workshops? Because we need to give him guidance on that, because I don't feel that he needs to be at all of them.
No,
I don't think so
my
either.
2 cents is unless there's a specific legal question that's gonna be there, there's no reason.
Okay.
Are we having him on Thursday? Yes or no? Did we decide?
he's recused himself,
Oh, okay,
so we
that's
need
good.
to talk about if we want an attorney there. If you all
I
want,
think we should have
We
one.
need an attorney.
I think it's gonna get
We
messy.
already talked about it on
Yeah,
the
we
last
did.
meeting and
You
said
didn't
if there's
like it,
questions.
But we,
You're gonna get an attorney in 2 days?
Jim Paget, where is he? Is he still here?
he
doesn't-
he
can't do it,
said
doesn't have
he's
his license.
not interested.
Oh, he let his
He
license
license
go.
go.
He let his
Yeah.
license go. He's officially retired.
Mhm.
You also served on that.
Okay, and who else knows school law well enough to advise us? It's really HR law that they need to know. but-
well, it's, you know, we're talking something here, and I brought it up at the last meeting that I think it's very unwise to go into that meeting without legal advice, because there's you know, I've heard a little stuff here and there about potential lawsuits and things like that.
I have too.
So, I mean, there's scuttlebutts out there, and, you know, not that don't have insurance, not prepared for that, but I'm not an attorney, and Mr. Douglas is, but he can't do it. But at some point in the future, he will be able to be the primary attorney for the school board of Putnam County.
So it's gonna be a recorded meeting, correct? If we have any discussion or questions, then we would ask an attorney, after the fact. Is pay an attorney to sit here for 8 hours and listen to an interview? That's our job. That's our job. We had a 4-inch packet that we are supposed to study and research. Why do we need a legal advice to say, well, you need to pick this one? It's not their decision.
Aren't we gonna make a decision at the
We
end of
don't
the day?
have to, we can if we want to. That's up to. if
I
the
would
board
feel
feels-
more comfortable. I understand I'd rather pay several $100s than pay $300,000.
What kind of legal questions are you anticipating? Now, I'm new
Just
to all
questions that
this.
we may ask that may not be, you don't know. That's why you need an attorney to say,
We need Debbie Decibellis here, because she knows what we're allowed to ask and not ask,
well,
I would
I'd rather,
imagine.
I can pretty much figure out what I should ask and what I shouldn't ask, but
It's a lot of questions.
I'm
Yeah,
not an
me too.
attorney, and I'm not gonna sit here and say that we're not exposed to a tremendous amount of liability if we go asking questions and, things that we're gonna ask, you know, you don't know. So. But I prefer it to the board, you guys. I think we need legal
What do you
advice.
think?
May not confine
I think
me.
if everybody comes in with the same question, trouble occurs when you ask one set of questions to one group and you ask a different set of questions to another. So if every individual board member will write out their questions tell the candidate, I'm asking you these 3 questions, but so you know, I'm asking everybody that walks through these doors the same 3 questions. Most of the legal exposure probably would occur when you tailor questions that could be construed as favoritism or positioning someone over someone else. So I would just encourage everybody, if we're not going to have counsel there, I'm fine with that. Write your questions down, ask the exact same questions to everyone, let them know what your standards of decision making are, because we're all going to have 5 different sets of ideas that we're working on, right? So
I just want what's best for our employees.
I would think it would be very hard if you have people who are local and some that aren't local, and you say, are you going to have somebody, are you going to provide for somebody for us locally? Well, you're not going to ask that same question to the ones that, I mean, you're going to have things come up.
But you state it as a fact then, because that's it would be relevant because they've already answered the question. Yes, there's someone local.
No, but I'm talking about the ones that don't have someone local.
If you want to ask that
haven't
question,
put it in their RFP.
And what if we come up with the same questions?
So it's okay. It's all right.
Just mark yours out and say somebody else.
That's all right. That's no big deal.
I think that if you look at the RFP on page 6, there are some things that Tom Bates did this and actually, I guess, borrowed one from St. Johns County. And so theirs had been looked at by an attorney, so he adjusted and made some appropriate things for Putnam County. And on page 6, it talks about, he gives 4 or 5 things that the board, the district, reserves the right to. And he talks about, let's see, he put it this way. The district reserves the right to waive any irregularities and technicalities and may, at its sole discretion, request a resubmittal or other information to evaluate any or all proposals. The district reserves the right to require proposers to submit evidence of qualifications or any other information the board may deem necessary. The district reserves the right, prior to board approval, to withdraw the RFP or portions thereof without penalty. The district reserves the right to, 1, accept the proposal of any firm to be in the best interest of the district, and 2, reject any and all proposals. The district reserves the right to make the final selection, but based on its own ranking, whatever you want to use. Further, nothing therein will prevent the Putnam County School District, Florida, from making multiple awards and deem to all proposals responsive and to assign work to any firm deemed responsive. So in other words, he's written in here that covers pretty much everything. You can do whatever you want. You're the board. I mean, seriously. He has really covered you so that this is your decision. You listen to them. You ask what questions you want. And after it's over, because it will be videotaped, they can look at it because they have that option. What we need to talk about, because a couple of them have sent emails to us and saying, gee, those who go early, it's not fair for the others to be able to sit in there through everybody's presentation. They can adjust their presentation. I believe that the board chair can say it's open to the public, but not to the applicants. The applicants are making a presentation. You didn't allow other attorneys to sit in and listen to Charlie as he gave his
We didn't say
presentation.
they couldn't, they just had the common sense, they had the IQ. You know, I think we can ask them,
common sense,
public
common.
record's public record, a
That'd be
public meeting is a
frowned
public
upon,
meeting.
that's all you can say.
But can we
Be
just
frowned
ask them,
upon.
right, ask them, please, we're asking you not to sit in until it's your turn. And then I'll tell you my thing, somebody comes in and sits in,
Absolutely.
that's an easy decision. But just, I think we can ask them nicely.
Just out of courtesy to each other, because
That's
they
right.
certainly can get the video later and look at it.
That's right.
But this is, this is your decision. You're interviewing these 7. Each of them should have opportunity to speak to you in front of the public, but not in front of the other respondents. Is the way I feel. I mean, I feel that way, honestly. But
do we all agree?
Yes.
So I'm going to strongly request. I don't think I can say.
And I think to let them know ahead of time, I could have Pam send an email to the 7 tomorrow saying that the board chair requests
That they don't
That
come
they
to the
not-
board until their presentation,
Yes.
and that they leave afterwards, actually.
Can I ask a question?
Rhonda?
Sure.
Just because I got a phone call this afternoon and one requested if they could come in and read over the proposals of everybody's proposal. Is that permitted?
That's public record.
Public record.
It's public record.
Sure.
I will call him back then.
Okay, I guess we'll have a set we can keep in the office. They can just come to my office and we'll have a set there available.
I would.
I don't know how they think we're
request
gonna do
that
that.
We can't.
I would request that you email the rest and let them know that someone has requested and it's open for them as well.
So you're asking
Yes.
Pam to say,
That,
we're requesting you not, but the packet is public record? Is that
Yeah,
what
the
you're-
packet's,
But is it public record until you finish your
I
process?
don't know.
no, it's not that's employee hearings type things, testimony and it doesn't become public record, I can't think of the word, disciplinary action. It doesn't become
Or
public
investigations.
until the
Until they're-
investigation is
Correct.
complete,
If you have
it's
an
not
agenda,
available.
I guess we could attach their packets to their slot on the agenda, but those are fine.
No, I think if you just have one or two packets available, one in the superintendent's office and maybe one out here on a table.
Should I check with purchasing first since it was still in the process to see whether it remains a matter protected until the decision is made?
Mhm.
Maybe those things do not become public record.
Yes, if you would check
That's true.
that would be great, Rhonda, thank you. Yes.
I have a question about, what happens if you extend the request for them to recuse themselves, or to, leave the meeting, and they don't want to extend any professional courtesy to do that, what happens at that point in time?
Well, they'll be ranked accordingly, I'm sure.
yeah, and understand that we can make a decision Thursday, but we don't have to. If we get in there, the board gets in there and doesn't like any of them, we can do an RFP again. I mean, technically.
Tom says, boy, I'm glad I'm retiring.
Yes.
All I'm asking as an employee is the transparency of what offer that they have given, and also too, a profit margin. Quite frankly, what are they gonna make off of it? Why are they so eager to come and represent us?
That's right.
There's a
Quite
packet.
frankly, that's the
Right.
bottom line.
Right.
And I don't begrudge anybody to make money. However, how much money are you gonna make on the back of me
It's in
and
the
my wife
proposal.
and other employees of the school
Right,
district?
there's a packet, and when we find out, we would let you know if it is public record, then it's public record to you, to the man on the moon, to everybody else.
And it
So
will be
just-
eventually.
Eventually,
One
and
way or
it's,
the
it's
other.
very listed in that, Mr. Bates has done an amazing job of getting all that information
Outstanding.
in the packet, so,
First of all, I didn't get all the credit for that, okay?
well, you.
Jim Pavitt, our attorney, actually reviewed that too. He's reviewed it on 2 different occasions. If you remember, it was a long and drawn-out process of
Yes,
trying to get
very
that thing written. And to make sure that we didn't, what they used to call wire it from any particular firm, that it was a wide-open RFP for a broker to, now, while I'm talking, I'll just go ahead
Come
and
on
just.
up,
Come
Tom.
on, Tom.
Just quickly, not to let anybody be confused, this broker of record is not an insurance company. He's a broker that's going to meet with our staff after that's selected by the board, and it's gonna sit down with our entire, with our staff and say, what policies can we get for you now? So he will, and one of the discussions that we're going to go through, is this broker gonna be paid by the insurance company, or is this broker gonna be paid by the school board? That's a decision we're gonna have to make. Currently, the person we have now representing us for Blue Cross Blue Shield is paid by Blue Cross Blue Shield. We make no payments to our current vendor, and he's actually not a broker. He's an insurance agent that we use for just our group health insurance, okay? And so this agency that we have is paid by Blue Cross Blue Shield. So it may be in our best interest, and that's one of the questions that we've got out there is that, and one of the questions we actually put in our RFP is, how much would you charge us? Are you gonna charge us, 2, 3, 4, 5% of our total annual premiums? And if so, we might be better off to just pay you, let's say that, because we don't know, let's just use some round numbers. Let's say that the insurance company is paying somebody $300,000 a year to administer our contract. What if that person would work for us and we would pay them $250. We'd save $50,000 off our premium. Those are, and it's been so long since we've gone through that process. We felt like it was time to at least sit down and do what most people were saying. Let's just look and see what we can do for our employees to get maybe possibly a new broker. This broker may be able to get us to identify other additional insurance policies that might be better for us. We don't know. I mean, and none of us here are the insurance experts. We're not really in the industry. We know a little bit about it. We read a little bit, but this broker of record is going to be our expert. And we're anticipating that this person is going to sit down with our staff and identify group health insurance is the main thing, but it's also going to be our life insurance, our this insurance, and just try to make sure, and we can go, when we get finished, it's our idea that when we get finished, we're going to have, if you have a question about any of your insurance policy that we have in the district, you go to this one agency, this one broker, and they're going to answer the questions for you. You'll have an enrollment that will go through just one broker, and you may be with 2 or 3 different companies, but you're going to go through this one broker, and we'll be able to get you the best price for life insurance, group health, or whatever it is. And so this is our effort to do that, and it's been wide open. And so, and we welcome, like Ms. Criswell said, we welcome. It's nice to have 7 people who want to do business with Putnam County. When we've been told before that, there wasn't any insurance company that wanted to sell us group health insurance other than Florida Blue.
Tom,
find out.
let me ask you
Yes,
another question. What would prohibit this agent or this person from going back to a carrier they represent, taking the fee that we pay them plus getting the percentage from the benefits at the same time?
Well, that's something that we need to negotiate, but that doesn't sound like something we want to do. I'm not sure that we want, to pay them and have the insurance company pay them too. That might be a philosophical thing that the board has to deal with, but it seems like it would be one or the other, because what you're trying to do is get the most efficient way to pay this broker and us to get the service and to lower our premiums. And what we want to do is provide a policy that's going to help our employees,
Tom, though,
Yes.
okay, for round numbers, 300,000 they're gonna charge, whether it's Blue Cross or us.
Everyone knows that's hypothetical.
That's
It's
hypothetical.
hypothetical.
Please,
Okay, we're just pulling a
We have
number
no
out of that.
idea.
Okay. Needs to be stated.
However, if we negotiate with the broker that we'll pay them
Yeah.
less,
Well, yeah.
that comes out of our pot, and we're saving the employees money, because they've been paying the higher premiums to pay the agent.
Well,
Blue Cross isn't doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
Well,
Blue
look, let
Cross
me
is
give you a number
tacking
that
it
I
onto
can't
the-
hang my hat on. Approximately, Rhonda, help me out. $8 million a year is what we're paying for our group health insurance premium, okay? Now, that $8 million, some of it comes from the school board at our annual contribution of about $3,500 a year.
Plus we do a subsidy of another $1,000. Right.
Plus another $1,000, and then some of it comes from our employees, okay? So we pay that money to Blue Cross Blue Shield. Then Blue Cross Blue Shield takes some percentage of that money, we don't know. We don't know the dollar amount, we don't know the percent, and it's paid to this person, our agent, and that's how they are paid. That's how they collect their fees. We don't know how much money that is. Okay, so they're over there and they get some percentage of that $8 million. Okay, what we're saying is that there's a possibility that if we pay the person, and let's just make up that number again, $250,000, that we could save some portion of that $8 million, maybe $50,000, maybe $100,000 a year, because they won't be getting paid by the insurance company. They actually would have, maybe they're working for the insurance company. I don't know. But our broker of record doesn't work for the insurance company. They work for us, because anything in it, and that would be, Mr. Buckles, what you were saying, is that we would hope that they would not get some kind of a percentage kickback from that insurance premium from that insurance company, because that
It's
sounds
only
illegal.
about 1 to 5%, but there was, I just worry that even if we save $50,000 or $100,000, that's not going to be $10 a month for an employee. But, I don't know.
But
Tony's got
But certainly, that certainly should be one of the questions that we should certainly ask, and there's a section in our RFP concerning compensation, and that would be certainly one of the things we want to talk to every one of our brokers about, our proposed brokers.
And know I said I was gonna call a recess
Okay.
at 5. I'm gonna take 10 minutes because we have a few more reports, or do you wanna just mash through it? Yeah, you had your BB.
Superintendent.
That's true.
I got a drink of water.
Yeah, right. Okay, we'll just finish then. You wanna just charge through? All right, so does anybody have a topic for a workshop that they're hot on?
Well, I need to know more about the strategic plan and how it came about and what we're doing to, follow the goals of our strategic plan.
Okay, so you wanna have that one at our next meeting in February?
I thought we were finishing up with our auditor, no?
That's at 3:00.
Well, no, but remember from earlier today, we were supposed to look at job descriptions and then come back together?
Yeah, I'm gonna gather all that.
So you want a 1:00 workshop
Yeah.
with the board
I don't
auditor
mind when you
next?
do it.
I just
need
don't
to
want
do
it, we said we were gonna do it, I don't wanna let it
Right.
Yep.
off the plate.
Let's schedule that for 1:00 then, at the next meeting, board auditor. And then we'll do the strategic plan the next meeting after that.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna want my solution center finally. And again, I'm gonna ask everyone to please go to the solution center.
And Ms. Douglas, the one on, next time, that we just needed job descriptions from Rhonda, Tom, and the whole finance, is that possible, or should we just go to the, can we get that off in Neola? No, okay.
No, our staff services department can get us those.
Okay, I was wondering what, if anything, we're gonna do about Sam Deputy's request. Is there anything we can do other than
I don't
provide
think
him?
legally we can do anything because you're talking about after hours work.
But can we just provide him with a list of contacts? Because it's hard to even get the band director's phone number. Or what, they're not.
Certainly I could do that.
If we can just provide him with a list of band directors' phone numbers for the bands
Yes.
that exist, I think then he can call them, but he can't even he leaves messages in the front office. Sam Deputy, this is about the parade.
From last time, right?
He leaves messages in the front offices and they don't get there. So I'm
Okay.
thinking we satisfy our obligation, cause we told him we'd do something.
Right.
Give him a list of every band and what school and the name of the band director and a way to contact other than the front office, because that's not working for him.
And
Right.
even if the band directors are willing, on a Saturday, on a Friday night, whenever they're doing this, the Christmas parade that he was so hep about is the Friday after Thanksgiving at night. And to think that children are gonna come in, I mean, you can't force them, and I don't, and the parents who won't bring, I can provide a bus at their high school to pick them up to bring them in, but if their parents won't get them to the high school, particularly Interlochen and Crescent City, the areas that are so remote, and a lot of those people don't have transportation to the high school. Those children, 90% of our kids come by bus, so I don't know what to tell him other than times have changed.
Right, because we wouldn't have missed a parade.
We wouldn't have, it was understood.
We were brave then.
Yeah, and so Jane and I were together. So, I mean, it was understood if you were a member of the band or the dance team, whatever they needed, whenever they performed, you would be there. And the parents understood that. But, we went to school in the 60s and the 70s, and things have changed. And our county, I think, actually has become poorer. Our children don't have transportation. They don't have the desire to do those kinds of things like they did in the past, and I don't know how to change that. So
Right, and
even
it's not because we don't want them to do it.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't think we can change that. My thing is, Sam Deputy was here and we told him we would follow up.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to,
Okay.
and if we can just
Well,
get
I
him
will-
that list of names,
I
then
will
they
get
can
with the band
cry
directors
to him
and-
about how the
yes.
parents won't bring the kids.
And I have to
can't
tell
do
you,
it.
when I went to the honors band, which meant we had members from every band in Putnam County, and the auditorium at Overturf 6th Grade Center was full of parents and grandparents and friends and relatives. And I said to them that night, and to the members of the band, and the directors, all the band directors were there, and I said, I am having constant requests from the community that you all play in every parade. And I don't know what to tell you except they love you and they want to hear you. And any way that we can make that happen, and I directed that towards the students and the band directors who were on stage at that time, and I looked out at the parents and said the same thing. I said, the community wants to hear our students. I will provide them transportation from their high schools into the parades wherever they are and back to their schools if you will work with me to get the students so that they can perform.
What if each band learns certain selections of music, and then the members of each band could come? Well, and they could march together.
And maybe we could do it. We could do it as an honors band. Maybe those students seem to come. But what you have to understand is, Palatka has theirs on a Friday night. Then you've got Willaca, you've got Melrose, you've got Crescent City. Everybody does them, and they're all right. I mean, you're talking about a lot of time spending doing this, and it's all wonderful.
Band is there, and in Crescent City, the Crescent City High School and Middle School. You know, they don't all have to go to all of them.
That's true.
But I believe, if possible, we should be represented at each one, even if there's one school band.
Yes. I even said to them that I would like all the bands to play in each other's homecoming parades.
That's cool. Used to do that.
Yes. So I put it out there to them so they know that that's something that I didn't mention Sam's name, but I did tell them that this is something the community wants. So I will certainly get him their
if you can just get
phone
them a list of
numbers.
names and contact names and phone numbers, we have fulfilled our promise to him that we would do something.
Absolutely.
So
and I work with Sam every time he calls on whatever he needs. I just
Great.
have to tell you, I do.
Wonderful. Well, I am done. And Mr. Board Attorney, do you have anything to report?
The legal affairs of the district are sound.
Yeah, very good. Awesome, thank you.
That's great news.
Yeah,
I like
Thursday.
Yeah.
Not being sued.
Yeah, the lawsuits file out.
Well, that's not exactly true.
Well,
Always being sued by somebody.
And for me, first of all, I do want to take this opportunity. Tom won't be here at our next meeting because he officially retires the end of this month. And I've known Tom for many years. He worked for us for many years, actually in Rhonda's position. He worked for the water management for a while. He came back to us after he retired. He's been invaluable, just as you said, Ms. Jorgensen. He is absolutely amazing at the job that he does. He's very humble as well. He doesn't want to take any credit, but he deserves a great deal of credit. But even more than that, he is a man of great character. And it's something that you don't find in the world today. And so I have to say to him, thank you for the wonderful gentleman that you are, the character you show, the example you have set for all of us, and the way that you've helped finance and the district as a whole has been invaluable. We're going to miss you greatly. And we wish you the best, and I think I'm jealous. I'm looking forward to retirement myself one day to have some fun. But and in saying that and honoring him, we also Rhonda announced to us this week that Shannon Wilson will be taking Tom's place and doing that job, and she's been well trained by Tom and Rhonda, and so we feel that she is highly qualified and capable to do the job, and we're looking forward to working with her. And Tom did say he's already filled out volunteer papers. He plans to come back and volunteer. God bless him. He's a glutton for punishment.
You know, one thing.
So we'll see him occasionally. We're going to try and make him go have fun a little bit and not be here all the time.
One thing you guys may not know about Tom.
Oh dear, here we go. I'm sorry, Tom.
When I was a kid and I was in used to go to NYF at St. James Methodist Church down here. Tom was in the choir, and he can sing. Now, you've never had the opportunity to hear him. You ought to have him come to a board meeting and sing.
There's your first volunteer activity.
You could sing us the invocation.
You are too kind. You know I can't carry it.
Well, I think they called it singing anyway, Tom. That's been a long time.
But thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And Shannon, we're looking forward to working with you. The other thing I wanted to say is certainly we had the opportunity today to honor the first responders, and I thought that very important. The principals and their staffs did a tremendous, outstanding, amazing job last week. There was activities at every school, lunches, just all kinds of things that went on that they did themselves. I got the word to the principals and they took off with it, and it was amazing. And I've had many of the first responders thank me. They couldn't believe what the schools did for them and how they were made to feel when they were there, and the notes from the children. And so hopefully at the next board meeting, if AT&T is hooked up everything they're supposed to do, what I'd like to do is just show you that some of the pictures and some of the cards and notes that came from children that were, teachers learn things about children they didn't. Thank you for saving me and my family when my house was burning. I mean, things like that you didn't know maybe that they had a house fire. Thank you for saving my little brother when he was choking and we couldn't get him to breathe. You know, those kinds of things that happen in families that until we gave them an opportunity to write thank you notes, we did not know. And I read those thank you notes to the counselors. The guidance counselors were meeting. Ms. Buckles had a meeting for them, and I took time to read some of it. And I probably shouldn't have, because I disrupted her meeting because they all started crying. So anyway, it was really wonderful. And I don't want to not take an opportunity right now to mention our own officers, and I'd like them to stand. Our coordinator of school safety and security, Bucky Hutchins. Is Bucky still here? There he is in the back.
Bucky.
Ray Streets, Christy May, Chris Krista, and Travis Weaver, Director of School Safety and Security.
Oh, hey, Travis.
Hiding, and you can see his hand. They do a tremendous job every day. They are on top of things. They're checking the schools. They know what's going on. They are available. All of the schools know they can call and get immediate help, and I can't say enough about the job that they do, and we're very fortunate to have them as well. I do want to mention Jenkins Middle School. This article came out Saturday, January 3rd, giving back. Every year Jenkins does this. This year they did 10,000 cans. If you saw this in the paper, it was tremendous what they did for Heart of Putnam and what they collected. And the students were there unloading these cans and got to actually meet some of the people who needed help. And the statements they made about what that did to them and how it made them feel, because I think they knew they were doing a good thing, but they didn't know how good until they actually talked to people who were coming in and thanking them for the help because of what they needed. It was a tremendous opportunity for those students, and they do that kind of thing every year. We have a lot of this kind of thing that goes on at every school. Our teachers, our students, there's a lot of community activity and giving back that I think we need to recognize more often, because it goes on all the time and you tend to hear the bad and you don't hear the tremendous good that our teachers and our students are doing out there. There is a lot. And the last thing I'll do is pass out to you, just take there's two together. They're stapled separately. These are the two articles. One is the poorest county in each state, the article that came out. And what I didn't list for you every state and their poorest county. I just did Putnam, so that you can see that according to this report, we are the poorest county in the state. And then the other thing is from Edutopia. If you don't read it, you need to. There's lots of information there, but what I copied for you, because I thought you'd like to see, is that there are wide shared myths and lies about education that are destructive for educators and destructive for our schools. And a book has been written called 50 Myths and Lies That Threaten America's Public Schools, The Real Crisis in Education. It's a book by David Berliner and Jean Glass, who are two of the country's most highly respected educational researchers. And what they've done here is, out of the 50 myths, they've given you just 7. I think I've copied 7 for you, that each have a little paragraph here that talks about why it's a myth and that people tend to believe it when truly it's a myth. I left one for you if you didn't take it. I got one here. So just because you need to know. But this is information in the myth, in the book that they do. They talk about poverty and its effect on children's academics. Also, something that's talked about is trauma that children suffer every day in their families, whether it's abuse or neglect, or just the family fighting and issues that go on in the home, and how it affects children, how it affects their brain, what it does to them when they try to come to school and learn. And the fact that our teachers every day recognize that in our children. And so the first thing they try to do is comfort, console, have a relationship with these children, build the children up, let them know they're safe and taken care of at school. And then they do the academics, because until those children feel safe and like somebody cares, it is hard for them to learn. So there's a lot more that goes on at a school than academics. And we talked about, the drug abuse, the ills of society. Everybody looks to the schools to cure. It'd be great. We could do a better job if we had the money to get the resources we need. We need a pediatrician and a dentist and an eye doctor at every school every day dealing with those issues. We need not only school psychologists, but we need all kinds of mental health counselors because of the issues that children suffer and nobody deals with. So, and this is nationwide. It's not just in Putnam County. We just have more than our fair share of it because it happens more in a poor population. So I just want to reassure you that great things are going on in every school every day. Visit one anytime and look at what's really happening and look at those children and hear some of their stories that'll make you cry, and then see the learning that they're still managing to do. It's truly tremendous. And that our high schools are seized, that our schools do as well as they do when these children have the trauma they have to deal with is really amazing, and we don't give our teachers enough credit. And I'll close with that because Mr. Buckles is looking at his watch and pointing. So.
I was remiss that I didn't thank the fire department for putting out Mrs. Douglas's hair the time she set it on fire. She was so mad.
Yeah, write him a thank you note. Thank you.
I will. Okay. Hey, we might be listed as a poorest county, but I guarantee you when it comes to heart and giving,
we're the biggest.
We're one of the top. Yes.
Yeah, I'm the treasurer for United Way, and I am amazed at how much money United Way is able to raise in this county when there are 52 other people collecting money also.
Yes.
So it's an amazingly giving. And I think like you said, Terry, there's real people in this town.
That's right.
We're real people, and everybody seems to care, and it is, I choose to live here. I'm not here because I was born here and can't get out. I choose to live here. A lot of them are, not everybody, but some.
I choose to live here too, absolutely.
Okay, with that meeting. On that note.
Good to see you, buddy.
Thank you, David.